Hello.
Taken inside.
How about now? Can you hear us now?
It was like
Oh,
30.
now I can, yes.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, we've got a quorum, so we'll get started, even though we're a couple shy. This is the monthly meeting of the Public Safety General Government Committee. We have Randy Scott Childress with us, Terrell Mickens, and myself. That's a quorum. And so we'll get started at 6:37. And our first order of business is a CAC update, and Emily Housen is here to do it.
All right, thank you. Let me see. So just a little bit of activity. At our next meeting, we are going to hear from the urban forester on the new tree ordinance. So, so we'll see what that's about. I'm sure you've heard of that. And also, thank you for giving the CAC $1,000 for the budget, whenever you guys voted on that. I think it's old news. We are not, we did everything to come up with the community preservation program, and now the advisory board started meeting on March 20th, so that's going to be good for the fund, and start looking at purchasing more open space.
Emily, do we know how much money we have in the fund at this point?
No, I know Julie gave us a number of what it had been if we collected it the entire year of
Right.
2024 would have been a lot.
Yeah,
There was only like 1 or 2 months.
so far. Okay.
Yeah, or 1 or 2 months in 2024, and then, now,
Right.
yeah. So, but I think they get a monthly, report from the county.
From the camera.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
We did send in comments for Bluestone Court on off of Lucas. And that was because, under the new form-based code, if you have so many units, you have to have 10% open space, which is like a park or trail or something. They really haven't said anything apart for that. That was our only comment, but that's still moving through the planning department. We haven't taken any more action on the flushable wipes. And so as I've said before, there's a new state law that protects wetlands, and because Kingston's an urban area, every wetland is protected, except, so I told you that before. So I did send a little letter out to the engineering department, planning, well, I spoke specifically to planning, but engineering, planning, parks, and maybe one other building to let them know. It's not as easy as everything's protected. The landowner has to ask for jurisdictional determination.
Before it becomes effective?
Yes, and so, for some of them, like in the parks, they're protected anyway.
Right.
So, it would be whether, so for the city just, when they do some kind of a subdivision or something, they would ask for that. But it is important for people to know that there is this law, so that homeowners don't just, so they're aware, well, more than just the property owner can ask for jurisdiction.
Oh, really?
Determination, like the planning board can, for sure.
Not a neighbor, though.
I'm not sure about that, but that's worth looking into. And then also for the vernal pools, which is where the amphibians, the masses are, and go from there. Those, you actually have to have certified biologist to go out there and determine that's a permaflow, which is very interesting because it means that like they only have 1 or 2 months every year to figure that out because it's based on the number of masses.
Right.
So that's, but we don't have very many, but there probably are some wormholes. The other thing about the flushable wipes, and maybe you guys have more information, but the CAC needs to understand, and we haven't done our homework on this, but if you have any ideas, we need to understand whether or not it's an environmental issue as opposed to just a cost to the sewage
Well,
treatment plant.
I mean, it's a practical issue. I mean, non-flushable wipes, quote, damage our system.
Yeah,
You know, it's just a bad idea from an engineering perspective, environmentally as well as practically as well as cost. It's just a bad idea.
and okay. All right. So that's all.
We could just invest in a little sign for everybody in the bathrooms.
Don't do it. Don't do those. Don't.
You know,
Right.
we were thinking about that at least for commercial, you know, for restaurants or something like that.
There was no reason a restaurant or couldn't do it on their own. Just don't do
They
it.
do.
Yeah, do they? Okay.
Ladies.
Well,
Some-
you know, it's not surprising to me if you're a manager of a restaurant and there's people putting things down,
Yeah,
that, you know, that are causing you problems.
Right.
You know,
okay, so that's all I think right now.
You may not know this, but one of the subjects that you talked about was the CPC. And do you know if all of the people that were approved in their tenure, did they accept?
I don't know. There were more people that applied than got in.
Right, but then
I didn't,
they were notified,
Yeah.
those persons were notified, and I'm just wondering if they all accepted.
I don't know. I meant to go to the meeting and it went over on this.
No problem.
We'll find out more. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
okay, thank you.
By the way, the Environmental Management Council meets at SUNY Ulster, right
Mhm.
across the street at 6:30. That's why I was here.
Oh,
I have to be there too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. All right, next item, you on the agenda?
Yes, please.
Okay. I want to welcome
Thank you.
Mr. Andrews. Welcome, Mr. Andrews.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is Schultz coming?
He sent a written thing that was attached to a part of the agenda, but I can go over quickly. What John is asking us to do is to find it.
I actually have this.
He wants to modify, that's the resolution.
Right.
What he wants us to do is that Prince Street, he wants to change chapter 39088, section 5, one-way streets, to say that Prince Street northeast from Garden Street to Smith Avenue, and remove Prince Street northeast from Garden Street to Foxhall Avenue. So what he's doing is making legislation consistent with the signage that we put out on Prince Street. You know, maybe,
Repeat that?
sure, he wants to make Prince Street one-way.
Prince Street,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, the little, it's like a block.
Yeah, yeah,
It's 2 blocks.
Okay, it is,
Yeah,
two
because
blocks,
that's two-way.
Right.
And they just made, what is that?
made it one-way.
They made that one-way, but what's that street that comes off?
The street that comes off is
Smith?
Smith,
That's
Smith.
and that's, yeah.
Smith.
Smith is still two-way.
Okay.
So in essence, what we were this problem he was solving was that having Prince Street as a two-way street, people entering the intersection is problematic. You know, the restaurant, there's not sight distance,
Yeah,
it's a 5-legged or 6-legged mess.
Yeah, top taste, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
and apparently it also solves some of the parking problem.
Right.
So it's been a good thing that he's done it. So what this is doing is making our code consistent with our actions.
So, gotcha.
So there's 2 parts. He's also adding Prince Street from Smith to Foxhall, alternate side of street parking is also part of this change. So that, you know, the problem that
Yeah,
we had was that there's a place they couldn't park, it didn't work.
Right.
So now it should work better.
Okay, are you prepared to answer the question?
I don't know, you can ask.
John's here.
Oh,
Hey, hi, Michelle. Hey, John.
Bob, you nailed it. There's, yeah,
Good.
thank you.
Shoot, okay,
So-
glad I got it right.
So for the one-way streets, when you say add Prince Street Northeast from Garden Street to Smith Avenue,
Yes,
so, and then you're gonna remove the one-way street. I'm just,
Which one you got?
so I'm
The first
looking at
top
chapter,
above.
yeah, the one-way streets,
All right,
the add and the remove.
right, okay.
So one would seem to cancel the other one out, and I'm just not sure why you're saying add.
correct. Well, so currently the code reads that it's one way from Garden to Smith. I'm sorry, Garden to Foxhall.
The whole link.
Yeah. And so we're remove, that's the remove, right? And then but to take the place is a shorter segment, just the portion from Garden to Smith only. And that does what Bob says, is prevent people from trying to enter the five-legged intersection.
Right.
So, good,
Yeah, and then on the alternate side parking,
Yep.
which makes perfect sense to me, to remove the Prince Street, the entire length.
Right. That's fixing something that's was apparently been in the code, but not signed or in use for many years. Currently in the code, the entire length of Prince, all the way from Grand to Foxhall is in the code for alternate side, but it's hasn't been signed that way for many years. So this is just taking that opportunity to fix that and apply it just from Smith to Foxhall only.
Is there any way to remove alternate side parking from the 2 blocks of Prince Street?
We're removing it from the 1 block from Garden to Smith,
Right.
right? So when we're done, if the council takes my recommendation here, when we're done, the only parking restriction on Prince will be the block closest to Foxhall.
close to Foxhall.
Other than that, it'll be standard 2-sided parking is allowed on Prince Street.
So, yeah,
So-
from Smith to Foxhall
Right, okay,
is the
so,
only part that'll be affected. Still have alternate side, right?
yeah, so
Correct.
I'm asking why can't both from Garden to Foxhall along Prince Street have no alternate parking, no alternate side of the street parking? The entire length of Prince Street.
Because the last block closest to Foxhall, from Smith to Foxhall, is going to be a two direction street, and based on the width, it's not recommended to have parking both sides there.
Gotcha, okay.
That would be all year, John, or just during winter? I'm sorry.
It's alternate side at all times of the year.
All times of the year. Okay.
Good, we're all good?
If that's what we can get, yeah. I could probably with a-
Yeah, because I know Tara, we both got a lot, like one side of the street is her ward, one side of the street is my ward, and we were getting a bunch of complaints.
Yep.
With and I think it was that block before Foxhall where we
Yeah.
were getting requests to do away with the alternate side if it was just in winter, because we already have snow emergencies that take care of, the snow removal, but you're saying it should be all year.
Yeah, yes. Currently, the code reads that it's alternate. The code was wrong compared to the signs in the field. The entire length of Prince from Grand all the way to Foxhall in the code is currently for alternate, which is a duplicate regulation from There's no parking on the south side of Prince from Grand basically to O'Reilly or Garden. And that's consistent with what's signed. And then the alternate side needs to be removed except for the last block, Smith to Foxhall, is what we're trying to do.
Okay. So when we changed Prince, the whole side to the whole street to one way last September or October, we gave it till November 1st so that we could alert people, alert neighbors, and we do that as well, make it effective May 1st. Or do you think that
You can, however, I would say this is not a drastic change, and I know it took some getting used to the initial making it one way, but this is actually going to relax it. So, my opinion, an extensive amount of time or notice is not needed.
Okay, what do we need any signage changes then? Like we'll have to take down like do not enter at
The regulatory signs, that are currently say do not enter all the way back at Foxhall would be moved to Smith.
Okay.
And that's really that should be self-evident the first time someone sees it.
Okay.
Good. We good? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to accept John's recommendations. Second by Drew. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Done. Thank you, John.
Thanks,
So
John.
Thanks, thank you.
The next item is a request by the mayor to send a letter from the Common Council, a resolution of the Common Council to lower the speed limit on Word Street Bridge from its existing speed limit of 40 to one that is more consistent with the surrounding roadways. The recommendation is 25. They're gonna not go to 25, my guess is they may go to 30. Doesn't make any sense to have it 40, in my opinion.
I came across that bridge the other day, and when you're coming from Port Huron into Kingston, it says 30.
Okay. Yeah,
Where do people get 40?
I don't
Is
know.
that what the,
But could be, I don't know. People have not paid attention to the speed limit signs out there.
Are you saying in practice they do 40?
No, it's signed as 40.
I see.
In practice.
If I could just, I could provide some context.
the alphabet's gonna be next.
Kind of like being on a call. Yeah, go ahead. We don't know who's there.
Okay.
So DOT is, while the bridge is a part of this project, DOT, is my understanding after speaking with them, is that they're actually looking at re-signing from the intersection of 9W and whatever that street is called that goes in front of what was the Frozen Rainbow all the way to 9W. So old 9W, I think it's old Route 9W.
Right.
That stretch, it has always been 40 coming down the hill through the rock cut and then across the bridge. And so while there were maybe different signage on the bridge at one point in time that says 30, it's not technically on DOT's schedule as 30. It's actually that entire stretch has been 40. And so DOT did get a resolution from the town of Esopus and their town board. And so our resolution would then go to the next step. And then DOT would take all of our recommendations under consideration as they go ahead and make the traffic change. And so, but my understanding is it would be the entire stretch of roadway, which will make it a little bit more easier and convenient for folks to understand what the speed limit will be.
Because traffic safety is all about consistency.
I agree.
40 miles an hour is inconsistent.
And I know it's not related to this topic, but Terrell, just to answer your question from before, they did have their first meeting. Everyone that was recommended by the council accepted. And I want to say that the fund has raised about $10,000 so far.
Oh, okay.
What was that?
That was for CPC,
Oh, yeah.
so everybody accepted.
Okay.
I mean, 10 grand, excellent. Okay, good, thank you. Any other questions or thoughts on this? Do I have a resolution? Kevin, can I get a motion to?
Motion.
From Renee, okay. Okay, any discussion?
Fix the inside.
All in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Okay, motion passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night, okay?
Okay, thanks, Steve. The last item on the agenda is adding a handicap parking spot on Down Street. And this is for 170 Down Street. The placard number is 5169112 of the person who lives there, and he's asking for a handicap parking spot. We had one there, but because of administrative adventures, it was not supported by legislation. This would support it by legislation. So it is before us.
Motion to approve.
Motion from Renee Scott Childers,
Second.
second from. Any discussion?
Well, just, how do we take down a
Any question?
handicap?
Same.
Same.
Literally, or?
You said it's in a big strong guy. We do the same way.
Same way.
Yeah.
So, but it would only be triggered by someone requesting that it be removed?
Right. That's right. And typically, historically, at least during my tenure here, people have come in because if the tenant who has a placard is no longer there,
Right.
it takes a parking spot off the street, so people are anxious to get it removed, so they come in and ask.
But is there any way to have that handicap space tied to the permit, the tenure permit? So
No,
in other
we
words,
have
like,
not
I'm no
historically.
longer handicapped.
Right, we have not done that historically, my understanding. You have a permit, if you have a permit, you have a placard, you can ask for the spot and we give it to you.
Yes.
If we wanted to put a condition on it, that the person well, there'd be two conditions, I would say. One is the person still lives there,
Yes.
and the second would be the person still has a placard.
And we have actually done a survey before, just an informal, all the people going, when they're going around the community asking, is that still in use? If it wasn't, we could ask for it.
We could initiate it, yeah, we could initiate it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you see that nobody's ever parking in that spot, you can ask the question of the,
Who it's tied to, and say,
Right. And how do we have an additional handicap parking space installed, say, outside the post office?
that would be the post office.
The post office would have to come before and ask.
Ones in parking lots are not ours.
Right.
The only ones that we get involved with are also the streets. Okay, many places don't do them. We're kind of unique in that.
They don't do.
They don't put them on public streets,
Oh,
but we can. I mean, it's a danger. I mean, if you have a lot of people that have placards, you could consider, you could really create a parking problem for yourself.
It hasn't really caused us any problems.
No.
Well, I'm getting some complaints about the post office,
That there's too many?
that there's not enough, there's only
Well,
one.
no, I agree. I agree.
And if the post office asks for, if it's on a public street by the main post office,
Yes,
if the post office asks us for one,
okay.
So you.
I suppose we could take the initiative and do it ourselves if we want.
Well, what I would do is go talk to the post office yourself.
Yeah.
Right, and just say, do you care if I propose this? But I don't know if
But we would
I don't know
have
if we
to have-
legally have to have, well, that would be different, because
I see.
we're calling for it and it's a kind of public venue.
Right,
So I don't think we would have to have, it's clear in that case, there wouldn't be an individual placard, number that we were using.
Right.
So I think
I think the post office, if they ask for it,
right.
you can.
Thank you.
Or if they acquiesce to your asking.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's what it is.
Now that now that the joy is gone, do things like that. Yeah, so there's a motion on the floor.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All in favor? I'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Thank you all. Do I have a motion to?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, that's this one. This one, I should have three, right? But I have one.
Did I check?
One.
One, two.
You should be
Okay,
good.
but I have one.
No, here's one.
Here's one. There's one more.
Right.
What's the one I'm missing? Yeah, not here. Is it in the box? Right.
There.
We're missing.
I'm missing the,
We're all done.
we're all done, thank you.
Adjourned. Good night.
We're done, thank you. This one.
We're done, Bob. It's good.